Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Diablo 3. My name is Wilfred, and in today's video I'd like to just share a recording I've done previously when I was attempting Greater Rift 94 the first time. So I've actually recorded the 93 and but somehow I didn't press the record button, so that was a really good run as well. So I thought maybe I should do a 94, and after I've done that first try. So I'd like to share with you what I've done inside Greater Rift 94 and the kind of like challenges I faced, and some part of it could be rather exciting as well. Multiple packs of elite being spawned and dealing with multitude of affixes. So that was a really fun kind of run. Very unexpected. Now, before I get there, I'd like to share with you what I've got in terms of gear, because at the end of the day, everything comes down to gear, build, a little bit of skill as well to tackle Greater Rift. For the record, I have not done any Greater Rift anything higher than 85 for a season journey. So anything more than 85 is actually beating my own record, and this is the 4th season I've participated, the season 14. So suffice to say, initially I was a little bit concerned about wizard survivability, but I found a way to get around it by changing my build a little bit. So I would like to share that with you, and also the gear I have as well. All right, so now in terms of Kanai Cube, there's no change to the way that I configure the items, so I'm not going to go through the same thing that I've been talking about it for quite some time. In terms of build wise, the skill wise, this is what it is. So again, I'm not going to go through with it. It's very much a Meteor shower build, not the Star Pact, which is the more popular one for High Rift leaderboard. So this build is not the top build. It will probably take you to maybe 100 perhaps if you work a little bit harder on gear, maybe a little bit higher. But I believe there could be a cap in what it could do, which I can totally understand it. But the top build will be more likely to on the Star Pack, as I've observed in the leaderboard. Majority of the Firebird wizards are using the Star Pack. Why do I use Meteor Shower? Well, mainly because I find it really fun in the end, and I didn't want to change. I had the intention to do it, but then I loved the simplicity of the Meteor Shower. Things are just auto prot, and I thought it's really clever, and it's all about positioning and dotting the target and so on. So I kind of have a lot of fun doing this build, knowing that it has its weaknesses, and to overcome that, like I mentioned before, I'm using the Aquila Cuirass as my set one of the legendary items, because I need the extra damage reduction by 50%. It helps a lot. It makes the character so much more tankier. But with that, I need to have of course, the Ring of the Royal Grand Duel, and I will have to sacrifice the fact that I cannot use the conversion of elements, which is the BIS kind of build for this BIS slot for this build. But other than that, there's no change in my gear here in terms of these items could have been better if the armor, instead of armor, I have the plus 15% meteor damage, and that would be like what I really want to aspire to get, because another additional 15% is quite a big deal, because a lot of the damage output actually come from the meteor, and the 15% multiplied by all those things that you have crit and so on and so forth is actually a big deal. I mean, even if you upgrade a gear, you hardly see a 15% upgrade to it. Granted, not everything you do is Meteor, but you've got Arcane Torrents as well, but the main DPS is still this guy here. So I'm aspiring to get that. The necklace wise, the amulet wise, I've got this Traveler's Pledge. If I could do something about getting an ancient with a high crit hit chance and crit hit damage, of course it will be better. And with that said, I will be able to add another kind of like legendary gem to it to augment it. That will be ultimate goal. Again, work in progress. On that, the shoulder items are not much. I would like to comment on the. I've already augmented it with the rank 75 gem. Glove wise, it is rather hard to find something that beat this guy, to be honest. Now, I actually got an Ancient, but because it has a 2% chance lesser on the crit chance, that is already 1.6% down in performance. I'm not entirely sure, even if I put a gem to it, it would be worth it to, for that. I think the increase, it may well be just on par, plus a little 1 or 2%, at most maybe 1%, I don't know. So I think I will stick by these items for a very long time. It's just what it is. As for the bracers, it's not exactly the best affixes, but I think I can live with it. Not too much complain on that. The belt item, the only regret is that it is not a 65% reduction cost. It does make a difference, because if I spam too much Meteor shower, I may not be able to sustain the Arcane Torrent, because the Meteor shower is being auto trigger by Arcane Torrent, yes, but then you could also manually add it up. Every 3 seconds you can add it, and it's just one of those things that are unfortunate. But I also be mindful that sometimes I just can't have everything I want. So unless I come across a really good one with the top row and everything, I think I'll just stick by this with the 86 rank augmentation. Then after that, this ring here again, not something that I've got any kind of I think I could get an Ancient item on this ring, but looking at the crit hit chance, crit hit damage, I think it's rather hard to beat it unless I really committed to farming materials to craft the item. So again, it's something that I probably will have to live with for the rest of the journey. This guy here, the affixes is totally nonsense. The only thing good about this is the reduction of requirement for set items by 1. The life per hit turned out to be rather good, because after I have this ring, and of course the Aquila Cruel's help as well, but I realized that my character can recover health a lot faster because of the life per hit. So it may not turn out to be that bad, because with the attack speed kind of increase, I know it doesn't affect the channel too much, but I think there's a formula to it that would it'll consume more arcane power to do a little bit more damage kind of thing. So I read up a little bit on that. I think it may be useful, but it's not that I can reroll that to hit the damage anyhow, because I need to reroll one of the affixes into the socket. So it is what it is. Nothing a lot of improvement on this guy. So I've already augmented with rank 77 kind of like a gem. In terms of this guy here, I think the regeneration per second is kind of rubbish, but again, it's just aware of the kind of constraint I have. If I get another nicer boot, I will probably augment it with the legendary. So I'm delaying the augmentation of the legendary right now for this one here. Weapon wise, not much complaint. The only regret is that in terms of vitality, I should have the life per hit, because that will recover a lot. But then the roll is actually pretty nice if you look at the roll wise. So again, I'll leave it as it is, augmented with the rank 80 gem. And then last but not the least, also one of the rather interesting items here. Again, not too much to complain about. So there are some work in progress, but all in all, I think the gear wise is pretty alright. And the next bit of the video is the actual run through of the Rift itself. Alright. So this is Greater Rift 94, previously recorded since last night. So first time trying it, as I said before, the highest I could get in any season journey was Greater Rift 85, and that was a Necromancer in season 11. So I'm just going to commentate on that. Now, as you can see, this is mainly just like, these are all melee targets, so I wasn't too concerned about that. And there is a first elite pet, reflect damage, poison enchanted, vortex plat. So I go into the buff kind of area, but then because of all these poison thing that I need to be aware, it does take a while to down anything here, because this is a rather high rift. But as you can see, it's rather tanky. Some of you commented that the Firebird build is very fragile. Well, I agree with you, and that's why I have augmented. Well, I've changed my build to use Aquila Cruel instead of the standard Firebird. items. Now this is rather tough because it's mortar. I cannot get away. Chain, I cannot get too close. And there's a frosting that I need to move away from, plus all the electricity things that I need to avoid. I have to get away. So it is like, if you stay close, you take a lot of damage. If you get far, you also take a little bit of a lot of damage. So well, luckily my build is rather tanky, so as you can see, it's rather durable for what I'm doing here. A little bit of moving out of the pulse. The frozen pulse is always very, very hard to to withstand. So just a little bit of it, and with that said, yep, the second elite pair is done. Now I'm not really gaining a lot of advantage in terms of time. Still running a little bit scary, but there's actually a second mob, as I can see. So it was 2 elite pairs, either one. Okay, so the rest of it just going a little bit cautious. The more target I hit, the more life regen I have. Plus I would spawn I would actually trigger the Firebird kind of thing buff. So that is the reason why I'm moving and dotting. And also, as you're moving, you get the endless walk kind of a damage reduction bonus from your ring and the amulet. So this is again an electricity thing again. So I just want to move it to a whole bunch of stuff, because since I'm going to do AoE, may as well do it with the rest of the loose mobs here, taking advantage of the 20 stacks of Firebird here. So Electrify, Vortex, and so on, and Molten. So these are not too hard fixes. Have to be a little bit careful with the Electrified. So in terms of time, doing pretty okay so far. Is still making it. There's a power shrine. I don't have the Nemesis Bracer, so there's no elite being spawned. So going to buff window. This is a shielding teleport, and I think this is a thunderstorm and I think motor maybe. I can't quite see here. I need to pause my recording if I want to see where things are. Yep, Jailer, sorry. So it's Jailer and Thunderstorm. Have to get avoiding the Thunderstorm, of course. Sometimes it could be a little bit hard to see. So time-wise, I'm doing pretty alright. Just a little bit cautious here. I try to get 4 chances of gem upgrade, of course. This is not hardcore, but I try to do well as well. Motor, shielding plug as well, not bad. So just need to be a little bit careful. The more annoying thing is that there's a lot of those the Huntress or whatever that keep throwing a lot of electricity. So you have to get away. Yet you have to get away from those things, but you have to be mindful about the motor as well. It's just some of these really, really terrible affixes that combined with the mob that I have. So it auto trigger a lot of Frost Nova, because every time I lose 10% of my life, a Frost Nova automatically cast here. So this is where you can see it there, just a little bit. But you can see the recovery is actually quite good, because of the build that I have. So yep, so that's one done. Just trying to wear out the rest of it, but it does take a little bit longer time, as you can see here. All right. All this explosion, of course, is very hard to. You have to avoid them, but it's not hard to spot them. It's just so huge. You can see it. This rotates kind of explosion, yet another rather hard to see as well, because if it explode and you are in the premises and or within the perimeter, then you probably get one shot, to be honest. So this is a speed kind of thing. Speed is good. I can run through stuff. And there is, kind of Frost Pulse as well, Nightmare-ish, Poison Enchanted. Just avoid all these terrible things. And I mean, all in all, it's just that the overall mobs around it is so hard to deal with. There's so many of them, and they are having a lot of very harmful stuff. And now I trigger the second one. There's a second elite. I try not to aggro, but unfortunately, I have aggro the second kind of pet. So I've got frozen. I've got this one has the things on ice, make it really, really hard as well, because now I have to be mindful about thing. And then this is one sort of resurrection, and now 2 elite pair. I need to avoid all these things on the ground, and it's just very hard to stand still. And all this ice thing you need to avoid, otherwise it become And then after that, I've got a third one that I've aggroed. So now there's insane amount of things on the ground, plus the poison, plus the electrify, plus the frozen powers, plus the things that freeze you on the ground. I can't remember what it is called. Plus all these things that is flying around. It is super duper exciting. Plus the fact that I've already utilized one resurrection chance, that any defeat here will count as the defeat. So I have nowhere to go. I just have to go around the circle here, and there are one force powers and all these like arcane. All these like fire, molten everywhere, poison everywhere, electricity everywhere, ice everywhere. It's super exciting, and I still haven't managed to down any of those things. And I think at this very moment, I was thinking to myself, should I give up or should I not? Because 3 pack of elite, there's a very high chance to get defeated here, and there's a rather low chance to get them down ASAP. So still, I was looking at the time. I'm still having enough time, so something that I may want to keep doing it and see whether it will come out right or not. Keep moving it. So I've got the damage reduction from my ring. I teleported in time, and I've got so on. Now I'm just wondering, because I'm looking at my buff, right, and it's like going down, and I'm not quite sure whether I've got like a chance to refresh my armor again. Because of all this hectic moment. So I hope I remember it, and maybe that's why it took so long, because I didn't have yes, I refresh it. Yeah, no, some of you have been like saying that why don't I configure like auto kind of like thing on my num lock or whatever it is. But you have to choose the right moment to use the first of all, this consumes arcane power, so I can't really do it. And also, I have to time it such a way that I don't use it when I'm in danger, because once I use the buff, my arcane power will be deep less than 90%, and my Akira Cuirass would be would not be useful. So I'm just trying to down as many as possible. So I've killed 1 pack already, and I felt a little bit hopeful. Things are really going fine now. Just to have patience, wearing down the rest, and focusing on and getting 2 more elite pack down, and so there is another minion that has been destroyed, and I'm just wondering if I could just hold on to it, just 2 more set. And this guy is also, I'm looking at his health bar now, something that I could potentially get it sorted very soon. Had to move away though because of poison, because of pulse, because of the thunderstorm, and I think I should get that done. And this is another one, the orbiter as well. So okay, so second one is down. So so with that said, I've got like I think 2 set of elite. Yep. And the third one is up there. So I've got 3 set of elite done, sorted. It was very, very exciting. Good Reef 94. Then I look at it just a little bit more, and I'll get to the end of it. And there's huge number of mobs here. And I was thinking that maybe I should take this opportunity to down as many as possible, because it does move the bar a little bit if you see a lot of like mobs like that, and you can just get it like destroyed in one shot kind of thing. So I'm just trying to see whether I could do something about that as well. And so far, this build is super tanky. As you can see, I've got like a whole bunch of mobs that's like electrifying me and so on. I still can survive. So I think a lot of things get down to the fact that I use a little bit of life per hit. A lot of things get down to the fact that I use Akira Cuirass, just to make myself more tanky. Alright, so now, funny thing is that at this point, I was so tired that I've missed out something, and you'll see it later. And it was a rather nice thing that I've missed out. So this one pack there, so 1 ED pack with a lot of arcane thingy, and I'm already at 96%. So I was thinking maybe I don't need to down the ED pack because if I do enough small mobs, I can count it to 100%. But here it goes. I aggro another elite. So I was thinking, that doesn't look good. And all this meteor thing, you have to avoid as well, because they will be very, very harmful. Now at this stage, I was so engrossed into the 3rd pack of elite. I was like, oh my god, this is like so many elite here, that I didn't notice I have a shield shrine. So I could have taken that, and that could have helped me a little bit. But as you will see later, it benefited the you know, what you'll see later. So 99%, a lot of mobs here, and you know, a few elite packs I can't even count, trying to survive through this. And suddenly the guardians arrived, and I saw my screen. I saw the shrine. I was like, yeah, bingo. So I mean, the rest of it is easy. But had it not been a shield, I think it'd still be alright, because this boss is not necessarily too hard. If you avoid some of the you know, the magic power and so on, it's not that hard to dispatch. Unlike Blight, of course, I think Blight is probably one of the hardest one. So this one, you just need to observe some of this like thing that they pull from the ground, just a little bit like Diablo kind of mechanic. But you can more or less do it. Even just take your time and do it. All right. So with that said, that is 94 tier 94, finished in 11 and 31 minutes. The last thing I've done was last year was actually roughly the same time, 93. So trying to upgrade my them to 90, you know, 94 or whatever, 95. So yeah, that's it. I've got a rank 95 gem as well, not too bad. And then after that, I go back to town, and there aren't really a lot of good, interesting loot, so I'm going to skip that part of the video, because you know, that's all I have. But well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you kind of enjoyed my journey so far. I know some of you think that it's still not 100 yet, so I'm working towards there. I may or may not achieve that in this season, but I certainly have a lot of fun with the wizard, and I hope you find it fun as well. I think the takeaway point is that not necessarily you have to follow a top build from the leaderboard, or even from Icy Vein. If you want to have fun, you can always augment a build that the way that you want, make it your own, make it kind of like you know, effective, and it's all down to you. I think after you play the game season for a while, after you tackle different kind of like classes, you kind of more or less know what make it work and what doesn't. All right, so I hope you enjoy you know, Diablo 3 like I do, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.